You have us?
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Okay, awesome. Thanks for joining us this morning. And to kick off, we're going to go to Bob Pockris. Bob, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, Ricky, I'm curious, when you think of Nashville, do you think of races that you've been in there? Do you think of testing there? Do you think of the prayer? Do you think of guitars? What do you think of?
The prayer. Yeah, that's funny. I think, for me, it was always kind of that racetrack that, for me, when I was first starting out my career, really close to home. It's only 3.5 hours away from, my hometown. And so I always had a lot of friends and family that came, and I've had some good memories at the track. I've had some bad ones. I was actually just watching the pre-race of 2011. Ended up running, second in that race to Carl. And then, like you said, a lot of the testing that we did in the wintertime, it was really cold there. So obviously now it'll be really hot and slick and a lot of fun. But, there's a lot of things I think I remember, but also a lot of things that I feel like I don't remember of, what exactly, it feels like, driving the car around, a concrete racetrack that's, that big and also kind of that flat. So, there'll be a lot of things to kind of pick up on, in that 50-minute practice that we have.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Alex Andrea. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey, Ricky, I'm just curious if you think that there are drivers that have already raced at Nashville that might have an advantage this weekend, or if, like back in 2011 and before then, or if the cars are just so different and track might be so different now that it's not going to give too much of an advantage.
I mean, I definitely think anytime you've raced on a racetrack, there's a little bit of an advantage. Simulators and simulator time, obviously, kind of help that transition quite a bit. And these cars are, totally different than what we've ever ran, at Nashville before. But I would say most of us, had a lot of test sessions there, at least in the Cup Series. So I feel like a lot of us have been there and had laps there. But, I do think that, there's a little bit of a comfort feeling knowing that you've been there before.
And then is there a track that's on the current schedule that is most similar to Nashville that you guys are looking at all? Or is it?
No, I think Nashville is kind of its own beast. It's concrete, fairly flat compared to, most other racetracks, similar size. And so, the concrete, does have a little bit different, reaction as far as how much rubber's laid down, things like that. It definitely took more rubber than I remember when I went back and watched some of the races. So I'm anxious to see if we can get the groove moved up, instead of just running the bottom of the racetrack. I think the weather's going to be good this weekend for, opportunity to move around the racetrack, especially with the trucks, Xfinity and Cup all in the same weekend, and the weather looking good.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Chris Harris with WSMV TV. Go ahead, Chris.
Thanks. Hey, Ricky, since you said Nashville is kind of its own beast now, do you view it as a level playing field for every team, considering everyone's kind of starting from square one here this weekend?
I wouldn't go that far. I think, it's still a circle track. We still got the same cars that we run every week. And so I think the cars and teams that are the ones to beat are still the ones to beat. So, that I feel like us drivers in a 50-minute practice session, we pick up on things really fast, and, one or two runs in and you kind of have everything figured out as far as what you need in your race car and how to get around the racetrack. So I think the cars that run really well right now are still going to be the ones that you got to beat.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Woody Kane. Go ahead, Woody.
Hey, Ricky, just wanted to look ahead to Pocono next week, quickly, another doubleheader, and I'm curious about what you learned from that experience with that much compression in the schedule and logistically even, and on the track as well, that helped you from one day to another. I noticed your finish went up a little bit, your driver rating went up a little bit from the first one to the second one. So how did that go, and what are you looking forward to this year with Pocono?
Yeah, it was cool for us. Pocono is a track that we've just been average at. And, you know, we had an idea going in of what we needed. And, you know, obviously running a race and then turn around and running the next day, you're able to make those adjustments that, that you feel like you needed, that you normally talk about, you know, the following week in your debrief. Like, hey, if I go back next time, I want to try this or do this, and you're able to implement that, you know, overnight. And so I think, you know, we made the right adjustments between the two races last year, and looking forward to doing that again. You know, I think as long as you have good weather in Pocono, a doubleheader is a great idea.
Thank you.
All right, next question will come from Claire B. Lane. Go ahead, Claire. Oh, Claire, I think you're on mute.
Somehow it slipped back to mute, sorry. If a track is new to you, right, and you get a short practice, you guys are professional, as you said, and you can pick up on it and whatnot. What is your rhythm of a new track? Like, what do you do to prepare for it? And, you know, the practices, you have to squeeze so much in, but you probably are in a routine about it, right? When you get to a new track or you have a new track on the horizon, what do you think?
Yeah, for us, you know, in our race team at JTG Doherty Racing, you know, Ryan Priest and I don't get simulator time. So I think we both use the same WR1 iRacing sim that I have right here behind me to make laps at Nashville, and just kind of like you said, get that rhythm of, you know, what everything is like, you know, the things that I remember about the racetrack when I run it. You know, the wall comes up really fast off of turn 4, turn 2 exits really wide, and turn 3 getting in is kind of tricky. So, you know, I feel like we, you know, kind of have a rhythm a little bit from running laps, you know, on iRacing or the simulator. And, you know, your team has like a run log of what you want to do in that 50 minutes. So, you know, so it's so condensed, you got to have it kind of scienced out what you plan on going through. And so going out there and running, you know, 10, 15, 20 laps to kind of figure it out, you don't really have that opportunity. You better be ready when you get there.
And do you remember it's difficult to pass there? That's probably one of the most challenging parts of the track, right?
Yeah, I definitely felt like it was tough to pass, but if you have a really good race car, you know, I think it shows there. You're able to run up through the field. You're able to, you know, get out, lead laps. You know, I felt like for us, I think in that one of the races I watched, we stayed about, you know, 3/4 of a second right behind Carl, and I never could really get any closer and never really fell any further back. And so, you know, it is a tough place to pass, but I do think that with all 3 series this weekend, the heat, the temperatures, I think the racetrack could widen out, and you could see maybe some really good racing, I hope.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take one final question from Mitchell Brewer. Go ahead, Mitchell.
Ricky, just curious how you think your season has gone so far, and what's your mindset as we get closer to the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, it started off, I would say, on the right foot and pretty consistent, and we were happy with where we were. And, you know, then you try and take that next step of, you know, how are we going to turn these top 12s and top 15s, you know, into top 10s, and you start working on your race cars, and you start, you know, kind of going through the process of, you know, trying to figure that out as well at the same time as everybody else is trying to figure out how to make theirs faster as well. And I think we got off a little bit, you know, so we're looking to kind of reset our program and kind of make another final run towards the playoffs. You know, we still got quite a few races left that if we can get back to that consistency that we had, you know, to start the season, I feel like, you know, as those races play out, you know, we could be back in close racing for those playoff spots. So that's our goal. That's our plan. And we're going to kind of see how that shakes out starting this weekend at Nashville.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you to all the media who have joined us. We appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. We're going